As the great song by Kate goes, we're going for distance, we're going for speed, and we've definitely got the distance covered as we are into map 5 of the best of 5 grand final between ENCE and Vega Squadron. Still feels weird to say, but this is here at the StarSeries I-League Season 6. And look, the fact that a team with no map pool has taken us all the distance, it's impressive.
It's impressive, yeah, to the point I think where we kind of have to say that they do actually have a bit of a map pool. It's just, it was very well hidden. And I guess that's the downside of only being able to see Vega play pretty much at majors or major qualifiers.
Sure.
And I guess that's partly to their own fault, the fact that they haven't been able to qualify for things online or make an impact in any sort of leagues that they were attending in. But you know, when they actually get the chance to attend that event, they do so well as they've done now. That's obviously going to spur things for them in the right direction. I mean, that's probably going to change the landscape for things. You know, who gets invites to what. And going forward.
They do things somewhat unorthodox in certain situations, but they say that's the way they practice, so you can't fault them there. We've been touting that narrative all night, but I think something to look at here is how we got to this point. So we kicked off with Train, which was taken by Vega 16-14. Moving on to Inferno was the quickest map that we saw through in the series. That was taken by ENCE.
Yeah, the only really one-sided map we've had so far.
16-6. Moving forward onto Dust 2, another back-and-forth affair. That big clutch by Sergey, the 1-on-2 situation, was enough for ENCE to close that 16-12. And then Mirage was the one you would have just seen if you were with us, 16-12 in the favor of Vega Squadron, one of their home maps, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely so. And I mean, we were talking about it as we saw ENCE being able to battle back on Inferno, do win that convincingly, and also taking Dust 2 to their name, that they could have been sitting here already crowned the champions, because that Train game, obviously, they were up 14-12. Then a string of 2v4s goes the direction of Vega Squadron. They bring it back. I mean, it's just been so chaotic, so messy from both sides, because, I mean, while the narrative for Vega Squadron has been, again, the unorthodox way of playing, the fact that they are extremely scrappy, it's not like they haven't been challenged, you know, by the same token as well on the side of ENCE. I mean, the Mirage game, the ending to it was a prime example of that. I think from the point of 11-11 or something like that, we had 5 rounds go back and forth between the two teams until eventually Vega Squadron were able to win out that war of attrition.
Yeah, speaking of attrition, we were talking about the fact that a best of 5 is a marathon and not a sprint, and the fact that we've gone the full distance just is a testament to that. These players, it's not something that they've ever had to be under before. This is the first time for both squads, I believe, in a best of 5 grand final of this caliber.
Absolutely.
Stat just coming in from everyone's favorite man at hatredtv.org, Mr. Peta. He has said that Tony Black has won 3 clutches on Mirage and 2 more previously within the series, and is now top of the board with 9 in the tournament. So a lot of impact being felt for Tony Black as he's come alive, not only with the name change, but completely within this StarSeries LAN to just be a pivotal impact player.
He's been a completely different player from what we've known him as in the past as well. I mean, he didn't even have the strongest of showings during the majors, but here at Starladder, you would have to put him as one of the outright stars of that team, which is surprising. I mean, I thought that we would have heard the last of Tony Black / Kibakin after we saw him getting
ousted from Navi.
Yeah, exactly. Because you get a big chance and big opportunity to play for by far the biggest team in your region, and it doesn't come together. You don't find the same success that you've done in your previous teams. And after that, he didn't get slotted into one of the second best teams.
Yep.
Or the third best teams for that matter. So you just got to peter it out.
So as we move forward into Overpass, which will be the 5th and final map, we have to discuss who's potentially up for, I suppose, MVP contention. I think Sergey has to be one of those names. Aloe as well, for some consistent performances throughout.
Got to throw Ariel as well. I mean, you've got 3 candidates really on the side of ENCE here.
Sure, and then I guess Tony Black with his impact with this final alone is more than enough to put him up for contention in that regard. So posturing right now for this knife round, one of the maps where it actually is more important, I believe, to get this win. And well, for once, it won't be falling in the way of ENCE. Vega Squadron going to take this, and I would assume that they would be wanting that CT side. Anything that stood out yesterday for you that they did that was quite positive?
I mean, a lot of things, really.
Other than winning, obviously.
Yeah. But again, I was really surprised by how they handled their T side against Energy right there. I mean, you see, like, again, it's not because it's, something completely new that they bring out, but because of how low expectation you have of what they're able to do. The fact that they're setting up for B execute, they have that final pop flash to come over from short in order to get your players from monsters out, completely blinding 2-man setup from Energy. That kind of, like, those small details that really just stick with them. that's the kind of thing that had me really positively surprised by Vega, and think that they actually have something to do and to give on this map. Their CT side was a little bit more up in the air. Obviously, JR is going to be very active over towards that A area with his op. He was actually one of the reasons why they started finding openings back on their CT side, because they got off to a rough start until JR got an op in his hand, started challenging down towards underpass, eventually up towards fountain as well. If he gets caught out, I do foresee some issues on the side of Vega in order to be just able to stabilize, rotate properly. But they managed to hold off versus Energy, and I would rate Energy on an average day much higher than ENCE and overpass.
Just considering those metrics going into that game as well. I think if we look at all the things that have been positive for ENCE, right? They have individuals who can step up with multi-kills and have, you know, clutch scenarios, are able to get it done all across the board. They've shown us in this series they can win on low buys and force buys. They have cool opening moves. Alexi B being able to lead by example, find opening kills and snowball off of the back of that. There's so many things that are positive. The only issue is their ability to close.
Yeah.
Their ability to close when they have found themselves in an advantageous position has been plaguing these guys throughout this event, and that's not a title or a term that you want to become synonymous with your team.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, to have, if you don't have a lot of drawbacks, that's a pretty significant one, though, to have.
Indeed.
Because that is ultimately preventing you from actually winning stuff. And I mean, they did show that they were able to keep the pedal to the metal on Inferno, but you know, overpass probably not going to be the same kind of wheelhouse for them in terms of comfortability. So that's something that has to be taken into account. Also, with how much back and forth it is, you know, that does get stressful. It does just wears you down mentally to the point where you might not be able to stay as well in it as you normally would have when the game gets really close. But still, though, they do have finished blood, so I would imagine that they can keep themselves rather composed.
All right, as we have the coin toss up on the screen here, it will be ENCE starting on the T side, Vega Squadron on the CT side. Strap yourself in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Once we've got 16 rounds on the board, we will have the champion crowned here in Kiev. Will it be the hometown heroes on this fairy tale run? Or will it be ENCE finally standing up, being stoic, and closing out this affair? Kicking it off in a very unorthodox manner once again as Vega Squadron with 4 players relatively aggressive over towards Connector and the party area of the map. They don't want to let ENCE have any room to wiggle as JR takes the first contact. Tickles a little bit of damage onto Aerial, and they're still posturing for a fight here.
Yeah, JR never going to back down. But this is a pretty cool setup still. I mean, it allows you to have, as much as it seems they've vacated the B-bomb side, which, to be fair, they still have extremely quick rotation paths through underpass. So Hoochie just kind of needs to stay alive. He's the man with the kit and a smoke as well. So if he just hangs out there, allows for the rotations to come in, still fair chance for Vega to just get something done here. JR's never going to stop with this aggression, eventually gets punished, but Crush is there to return the favor onto Aerial.
Does to Aerial what the term Crush does to my hopes and dreams. As now the speed is being picked up. 45 seconds left on the clock, and long appears to be the avenue of attack. Smoke and 2 flashes.
This is probably the only weakness, really, with this setup that Vega had, and especially because they're deciding to stay in it as well. Crush is going to be so far removed that he can't necessarily hear all the steps coming in from ENCE before it's too late. So ENCE already up on the bomb site. Sergey is about to be in for a bit of a treat here.
He's definitely heard all that action. That calls can come through the team, and the safe truck plant will come down, and in the picture-in-picture, the damage is done. Sergey finds 2, eventually traded out by Crush, but that's 17 points of health is going to make life a little bit more difficult. Note right now the diffuse kit and smoke on Hachi as it hits the deck, because he's been taken out of the picture by Alexi, and Crush just wants to hold on to that Kevlar and carry that through to the following round as he is going to nip away, see what he can do next round, because this one's done.
That's a bit fortunate, actually, on the side of ENCE, opting to go for that long push late into the round. It seemed like they, after losing Aerial, actually were thinking about going over towards B. But maybe with having lost potential map control over Connector and the entire underpass area, not feeling too comfortable about actually committing to it. But that completely negated everything that Vega had set up. So before Crush gets any sort of idea as to what's going on, 3 players on the bomb site, also ENCE dealing pretty well with Hoochie coming in from that B bomb site, as well as you can see X7 and teammate just swarming in.
Well, surprise, surprise, we do see the buy come in from Vega Squadron. A scout has been dropped across to JR. And there will be pistol upgrades across the board. A Deagle, 257s and a P250 in the hands of Crush. He's even been able to upgrade to that head armor with his boy Uncle Chop Chop. Smoke for Tony Black as well.
JR is the only player really over the save bomb site though, so yeah.
Was the only player over towards the save bomb site.
Got removed pretty handedly by Alu. I think the issue for him though, even if he could have done a lot of tag damage, he's obviously not coming out of that situation alive at any given point. The only reason, or the only value in him playing far forward is obviously a bit of surprise momentum going his way, but also giving time for the 4 others to potentially rotate off that B bomb site after he's done some damage. But yeah, seems like ENCE taking a bit of a page out of what Liquid used to do, at least on overpass in their anti-ecos, which is pretty hefty focus over towards long. For right now, that would be the right call as well. Ariel just making sure nobody's hanging out in restrooms.
With the setup that Vega have right now, if it isn't a bomb site attack, I would assume they hold on to these weapons, these upgraded pistols, and just take that into the next. There's no point fighting back into that A bomb site, especially in a number disadvantage.
I mean, for Vega, they're probably thinking to themselves like, that's actually a pretty sweet situation. We get to have another Force Spy.
Well,
Force Spy for free, right?
They love it. They can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
That's a reactive smoke that's just come in there from Tony in a situation where he might be able to force them away. But on the other side of the map, with all the action towards that B bomb, site X7 is going to hold them over there with a kill onto Chopper. Bomb should get planted. There isn't anybody to find, but they are making sure that they cross their T's and dot their I's.
Do so nicely as well. X7 still in a position where he can find any aggressive CT side players, and he does so as well. Tony Black to go down. Nobody's really ventured out of that bomb site, and as much as we talked about Vega, you know, they would have been happy to hold on to that.
Oh, hello. That's a quick one dig.
That does actually upgrade it. It makes their situation a little bit better because now they can drop off a UMP and still hold on to 5-7, that kind of a thing, or just drop the 5-7. Whatever floats their boat. But yeah, like once you go down below that 3-man limit, really, it doesn't really have too much of an oomph to it, that potential force buy that you've managed to hold on to. We'll see though what Vega can scrape together. Also curious to see what Crush wants to hold on to, if he's going to stick with the UMP or just going to drop the 5-7. That's going to be the pistol as well that goes to a teammate.
X7's yet to invest himself. I think his purchase will tell me what type of round we'll be looking at. It is a Mac 10. With that in hand, potentially using that earlier in the round, maybe a little bit quicker to grab some territory. Last time it was the pretty standard defense, get the playground control, wait for the pushes, and the map territory from that point. And yeah, we'll be hedging over towards that B bomb site, throwing a bit of utility early to keep them honest.
Yeah, X7 just kind of being a point man. Not the biggest deal in the world if he is actually taken out by an aggressive Vega team. But they actually haven't opted to go in for any sort of short control. I haven't set up any utility to actually deal with that. So might actually just see them gather up once more, go back towards long. If nobody from Vega is willing to give them an invite to tango. And Lexi B is actually moving quite far up here on long already. All by his lonesome. Again, he's the secondary player with, or second player with a UMP to his name, so, or SMG, I should say. So again, not the biggest issue if he dies. He's at least going to draw some rotation here. Actually, a massive rotation out of the Vega Squadron team. They're just putting all their eggs into one basket. They're going to do this by committee.
They want to fight this one this time round, and they've made the right call as Alexi continues to lead by example in the front, but might be...
He needs to wait up a little bit.
Yeah, could be barreling his troops into the stack right now. A Flash is going to have to come over at some point if he wants to take this, but contact appears to be the port of call. Molotov very close, and now he comes around the corner, finds JR without armor, but the trade will come in. Hachi with the instant trade, and TKs are on the menu as Alu takes down Aerial. Now we have ourselves a 3-on-3. Utility has been able to hold the CTs back behind the truck, and Hachi's Deagle again, both rounds in a row, has been absolutely devastating. 15 seconds left, and this is the chaos as X7 is able to get one, and still Hachi is stepping up. He's been performing the par, and this time round, the Deagle is the key. ENCE let the clock run down and let Vega play within their wheelhouse. Some fantastic shots had to have been hit there. Hachi's impact over the last two maps has been Sensational.
It's been growing by the round, and yeah, I was about to say, ENCE finally managed to scrape it out without losing to one of these scrappy buys, but it is actually that safe deagle from the previous round that comes up massively for Hoochie.
It's just going to be a B play, though, as we can see on the map right now. All 5 members making their way very quickly towards that site. They put out the Molotov. They're coming through. The Molotov has been missed towards the barrel. Is that going to be a problem? As Hachi, he there resides. It's mitigated with the smoke, being able to slow down this push, and the rotation is coming in. Attack on the B side. This aerial's been offered up the head of Crush, but they know that Hachi has to be here somewhere. Shots through the smoke, and it seems to be on cue when we get to these scenarios. The pace slows, but Hachi doesn't want to stop the frag, pushing in. Alu gets the kill, but the HP right now is the bigger issue.
Yeah, again, Tony Black is going to try see if he can find some more success. Perfect flash there coming in from ENCE to deal with him. And even though there's no smoke down on Heaven, JR still has too much to deal with in this scenario. Very unlikely that he's going to try to go for this. I mean, it is the one scenario where you kind of wish you would have had a Colt instead, considering the HP on 3 of the ENCE players.
You just see how heads up ENCE have to play in those situations. Normally, once you make the initial trades,
things are going to calm down.
Yeah, you get at least a lull in the gameplay to set yourself up and prepare for that next wave, that rotation to come in. But Vega, they just throw themselves at you. They're relentless in that attack, and luckily the flashes in transition from ENCE were good enough to allow them to find the kills. Alu standing strong, making some big frags. Almost, yeah, that would have been absolutely devastating for Vega. They will hold on to that AWP. Tony has enough money in the back pocket to buy himself.
I'm curious to see what the retention rate on JR's AWP has been for this series.
That would be a fun stat, because it feels like he's always had one. No matter how bad the economy is for Vega, JR has had that AWP in hand time and time again.
Yeah, Tony feeling the success from Mirage with the AUG. He's going to opt in for that right away, and we've got 2 Deagles on Hoochie and Crush, 5-7 on Chopper, so it's another 4 spot. This time it's Tony to go into underpass. This is where we saw JR do a fair bit of damage with his AWP versus energy. And they're actually going to chauffeur Chopper further forward. If he doesn't overextend here, that's going to allow at least Tony to back out and rotate off.
Yeah, that's very well played. The rifle gets the space, the pistol takes the room.
Well, now he's in a prime position to do some damage as well. I see that 5-7 exceptional at close range. And they've established pretty solid map presence here on the side of Vega. A bit of a gamble as well. Only Tony over towards that B-bomb site, but he's going to be able to spot anyone potentially crossing by. And Chopper nails Sergey to the wall.
One might be enough here, because damage has now been done, and Tony continues to pivot with this AUG. He's been forcing them around, and with that damage, it's actually going to make them pivot back towards the B-bomb site. There are 2 responders over there. We do have the likes of Hachi and Tony, and a smoke grenade. And we saw what Hachi did with the Deagle before. Look at this, the forward. Oh, I was going to say the position is fantastic. He should be able to get one unsuspectingly, but it's not going to be enough. Molotov is going to come over right now. Hunting around the pole will be Hachi with the Deagle. He's done it once. Can he do it again? Ready and waiting. He has to hit some massive shots as the rotation is still coming in. He's not going to be able to. What am I talking about? 2 massive Deagle kills once again for Hachi. Keeping the dream alive as JR now finds himself in a 2-on-1 situation. Molotov is going to come out. Bomb will go down, but that is enough. Forces Alexi back and through the box. He finds the kill. JR knows where he is. The AK bullets have been tapped in his direction. I think he's lost traction, and Alu will find the kills, keeping them alive by the skin of their teeth. ENCE finally able to convert around. They should.
I think a 1/10 of a second more there, and JR lands that shot.
The miracle
he drags right onto him.
Yeah, the miracle shot through the box, and Hachi as well with that Deagle. This is tense. They need to take a deep breath.
Yeah. I think even Finns might get flustered.
I thought when he missed that first shot, it was all over. I thought he would have been punished, but he had a chance, and he took it. Hachi continuing to be deadly in the early stages of this last map, of the best of 5. Whoever gets this wins the game. And not only that, the trophy, the prize money, the prestige, and the glory.
Yeah, it's got a bit of prize money on the line here as well. $125,000 to whoever can get to 16 first on overpass. And it's doing a pretty solid job, making a case for themselves right now at least. 4-1 up, and finally, just straight up eco for Vega Squadron. Just easy cookie cutter default coming out of ENCE. And Alexi's going to be the point man once more as he has the SMG in hand.
He has to be careful. You know, he's being so forward and like he was before. Sure, that round falling apart was off the back of Hutchie's amazing shots.
Yeah.
Not necessarily his forward position, but if he gets caught off lingering or going for information a lot on his lonesome, that could spell disaster.
The big thing for, well, that's obviously going to be big of a tell. How many players are there? And that could actually spur ENCE to go in towards Monster here. See X7.
This must be a read of something of demos they've watched. When they see Alexi going for information solo, they automatically rotate over towards this B bomb site. And that's the right call because that's where X7 and Aerial are. They're not going to have any problems dispatching of those pistols without head armor. Nothing upgraded to worry about. But you have to think about that. Is that some homework that they've done? Because as soon as they saw Alexi be solo going for that play, they automatically rotated B.
They bailed out,
yeah.
I mean, it has to be something to that effect. And maybe it comes into play that, you know, last time Alexi were in the same position, he ran into a bit of a stack. So naturally, it's not normal to expect Alexi to say, well, okay, guys, I've found all 5. Let's run in. Maybe, yeah, that's Vega just thinking a bit ahead of the curve. Nonetheless, though, they are showing some poise. Now they're going to have weapons as well. No op on a JR, but they do have rifles to play with, and that's more than enough usually for this Vega team. This time, though, quick short control gained from ENCE. Alexi tucked away in the corner. He's got a MAC-10 to his name, though. Not ideal, but actually 4 out of the 5 players on the side of Vega don't have head armor.
That's the one key here is they do have a defuse kit in the hands of Crush, the man we were just on board with. So if the bomb does go down, we'll have that shorter defuse time to come in. Triple nades over towards barrels. Nobody's home. They knocked on the door. They rang the bell.
Yeah, and with that, not finding any openings through their utility usage, they're going to actually back off. All has been playing passively over towards Playground for the entirety of the round, so they know that nobody's pushed that far up at least. Now it's on him and X7. It's going to move forward and clear these angles out.
Would have been spotted there as he's jumped across the line of sight for Tony Black. Gonna lob the smoke in, play behind it, try and lull them through that smoke. Flash will come through, they will push. He's trying to play into it himself, but Alexi will find the kill with the MAC-10. Continuing the pace, he's going to find a second, and that lack of head armor is going to be punishing as this continues to barrel forward onto the bomb site and get the plant down for free. The chaos has been stopped, and now Chopper and Hutchie have no option but to save. Let's just make some quick notes off of the NRG game yesterday, where NRG did start on the T side of this map. They were 5-0 up before Vega were able to get anything on the board. So this isn't too bad.
It's not out of control for Vega right now. The only worrying part is that what started the comeback for them versus Energy was it had a lot to do with JR getting an op in his hands. That's going to be some ways off right now. As you can see, not a whole lot of bank in the Vega members' accounts. So might have to look at a double eco, actually. But at that point, ENCE, they're going to be looking at 7 rounds potentially. Oh, again, another TK coming in. It's been a lot of team kills here.
Yeah,
I guess that kind of goes hand in hand with the chaotic nature of it.
I feel like most of them have come from Alu. He just wants to punish his teammates. Like, listen, boys, I feel like we should have closed this one out earlier.
Just like, get your stuff together.
All right, so right now it's just going to be a light pistol upgrade across the board for that of Vega, and that saved weapon on Chopper will be playing in. They need to allow him to be the point man, set him up to make as many kills as possible if they want this round to fall in their favor. Just the default spread right now from ENCE. Oh, they've actually put out that Molotov in connector. They're happy to take this duel. We're going to flash him in, and he's going to be able to posture on up and cover off the pipe into sewer. Feels like he's waited long enough, and they're going to back on off. So they are giving opportunities to Chopper to find kills here. I like this from Vega.
Yeah, now it's like Joe's going to fall off. Might join the rest of the gang over towards B here. Actually, he's going to just make a turn around and go to the long. Set up a bit of a double setup with Chopper. Well, there might be the guests that they're waiting for. The main focal point from ENCE here right now is short. Aerial and X7 moving on up. Malting off any close angles. Alu, though, he's peering out towards long. This is where the one weapon on the side of Vega is. Chopper just staying hidden the entire time. And I guess if you're ENCE at this point as well, you might be trying to figure out where that one weapon is. So far, that's not been given up, and there's actually an opportunity for Chopper to push aggressively here.
Yeah, I just think the last thing that ENCE want to do is let that clock run down. We've seen it time and time again, as there it is. There's the M4, they know where it is. That should cue the B hit right now. Looks like they want to go take this duel. They want to actually go to the A bomb side. They think there's an avenue open, and Chopper realizes or thinks it's going to be hit as he's on the big flank. JR's going to spot with the jump. He knows the jig's up. The rotation should come in. They're going to get the bomb down without too much of a drama, as the quick change to the knife sees him on the deck. And overextending. X7's going to get taken down. Chopper's find aerial, and now we have ourselves a 2-on-4 situation. Sure, the weapons are in favor of ENCE, but we know Vega can get a lot done with very little. Now, the clock is the problem, as there are no defuse kits. We can see Chopper's angle as he chips around the corner. He's going to drop. That leaves a lot of pressure on the final three, as both members are posturing towards the toilets. Flash is going to come over. Sergey steps on out. We'll get one. Now Alexi, the in-game leader. He needs to stand up to stop this. The clock ticks down. The defuse is in. It's not planted for him. He needs to push through. He's going to get one, but it's the 10-second defuse. He should have time. He's going to be able to stop this as he peers around the corner, takes down Tony, and saves ENCE from absolute embarrassment, as that one should have been a closed book. Vega continue to impress, continue to scrap, continue to fight. No matter what they have, they make it exciting, they make it interesting, and they keep the economy relatively honest for some of the members on ENCE, as Sergey and Ariel
running a bit lower on the spectrum there for ENCE in terms of money. But Vega on their end, I mean, they didn't have an op in the hands of JR for quite some time. Now they added in Chopper to the mix as well, so double op setup could definitely be tough to break for ENCE here. Just gonna come walking through monsters there. Chopper already getting into the action, finds two before Ariel actually answers. He needs to find more here. He's got plenty of Vega players hiding behind the smokes, and they're gonna pounce on that. Crush with a second kill of the round as well, and Aldo left alone. Up in his name as well, but he's been spotted out. He needs to get out of dodge. Leaves Monster, joins in on short. Already, Hoochie has made the rotation, and he's going to be able to quickly deal with that. Might even pick up the op. He does. So double op's going to maintain for Vega Squadron, and Chopper just immediately making his mark on the game with that. Second round on the board for Vega. But now, obviously, the big risk and the big factor here is potentially getting reset.
Yeah, that's the danger zone right now. Chopper able to step up in a massive way there with two big openings under pressure. And then Crush just anchoring down and mopping up what had to be done. Chop leading the way as the pause ticks down. As we did touch on, this is the pause of Vega. That importance cannot be stressed enough. If they lose this round, that's the hard reset. It's back to that $1,400 loss bonus.
Yeah, pretty much looking to be, at that point, a 2-for-1 for ENCE if they're able to win this round. So they would be looking to get to 9 before there's an opportunity for Vega to buy again. Well, you would assume that Vega sticks to their guns in that sense. Not going to play necessarily that passively from this point on. We haven't seen JR venture out too far yet with the op, but he's going to get another opportunity, and wouldn't be surprised if we saw ENCE setting up for another default as well.
Both ops over towards A. It's reminiscent of when we had Guardian and Simple both in Na'Vi.
It's a bit of a new look, and JR is going to go down to familiar territory. But the thing is, the way Sergey has been playing this underpass area is looking around while the smokes are still down. It's still fairly fresh in case some Vega players would actually run through, and then he just falls back. So no opportunity given for JR to get into it there.
And JR's kind of been left to his own devices right now. They've had to skedaddle back out of town because they took control of Long, which left Tony Black with no option but to call himself. Chopper will open the account, but Sergey will find JR, who really his only way to escape in this scenario would have been through sewer. Now we have a 4-on-4 situation with 3 players leaning over towards the B-bomb site for Vega. Chopper on 37 points of health, having to hedge right now and just watch over towards the bathroom part of the map. And the call appears to be, we're going to the alternative site.
To the B-bomb site, X7 is going to help Sergey get out from the underpass. And, ooh, actually, this might turn things around there. Chopper offers himself up for Alexi. So instead of that B-fake, well, Alexi's definitely trying to sell an A1. Throws out Molotovs, but
What's going
Meanwhile,
on?
here, X7 has tried to get aggressive towards Monster. That's where Hoochie will find him. He's still alive, still got some HP to work with, but Ariel's going to be able to find a trade. Crush. Close position with the FAMAS. Not going to be able to win out the duel, so Plan should be going down with 8 seconds to spare. So, and actually Tony Black gets tagged up as well. 1v3 situation, no utility. Does have a defuse kit, might as well just hold on to that going further.
As he can grab an AWP as well, so he's going to take that from dropped Chopper and see if they can use that in the following round. The thing is, that was on a knife's edge. If Hutchie was able to step out and get a kill in that scenario, that means Crush is able to move on in, pivot up, and get a kill of his own. The problem was, Crush was actually coming in to get the attention off of Hutchie so he could step and frag. By doing so, throwing those nades, they knew the trajectory of a player had to be close, and they were heads up and ready for Crush. If Hutchie had stayed alive, if he, you know, took the bet, took the gamble, and didn't think that anyone would be pushing through Monster, he could have waited until they'd come deeper into the bomb site, been able to maybe get a kill there, but these are the decisions under pressure. This is the grand final, this is the last map, and mistakes will happen. And the force buy has to come in for Vega, as this is the CT side. This is normally where you want to be putting up score lines of 10-5, 11-4. Right now, the best they can do is an 8-7, and that needs to start now, and JR needs to find success with that AWP.
Yep. He was a little bit too late to get into the thick of things in his initial duel versus Sergey. Later on in the round, Sergey would topple him. This time, he's going to go head over towards Monster. No, actually goes down too short. Just going to hold an aggressive stance for the time being, but that nade sent him into the pain ward. Gets boosted up as well. So they have established position, but this also means that they've made a pretty heavy commitment towards the B bomb side. Tony Black being the only player on the side of Vega towards A.
And what a weird position. They have no information on that A bomb site at all.
Yeah.
They have to be able to expect someone to walk all the way up, go through toilets, and have complete control of that bomb site. Now that the smoke's gone down towards the bathrooms, they know that this could be the internal clock of where we allow ourselves to rotate over. Maybe channeling a bit of Quake knowledge with the old armor and all the pickups.
Definitely so. Bit of a blind rotation being made for Vega as soon as they realize there's not going to be any immediate threats towards B. And now this is a setup that you've seen quite a bit more of, that bait and switch over towards long. Although just not peering too far forward. He is alone as well, so could be ideal for Vega if his flash is thrown over here. You can see Tony Black is getting forward. He's just going to go walk out with no utility help whatsoever. GR misses his shot as well, and he's about to get caught out. There we go. Ariel finds the kill that they need. It's only down to the one sole player, Crush, on this A bomb site to give them a little bit of time to work with. But as he appears through the smoke, 3 ENCE players are waiting, and this is unraveling rather quickly.
Vega aren't able to make the right reads at this point. They've been doing such a good job of making the right call, expecting the site that's going to be hit, and then causing chaos in all these other maps we've seen played, and even in the earlier stages of this map. But right now, ENCE seem to have their number. You could see that setup right there was never going to work. JR had to stay as bait for that of Tony Black, and as soon as he moved away, as soon as Tony pushed in, Alu was ready and waiting. The discipline, the preparation, all the things we tout ENCE with having under their belt are now starting to show, as they've got 9 on the board. That's a 9-2 score line. We'll quickly recap the frag distribution as well. If we look down on the ENCE side, X7 has definitely bounced back from that last map. He has 10 kills, 10 for Ariel, 9 for Alexi, 8 for Sergey, and Alu on 3.
Oh.
If we look at the side of Vega Squadron, 8 for Hutchie, 8 for Chopper, 5 for Crush. Tony Black, the impact man throughout this final, sitting on 2 kills. And JR, a player who has been towards the top of the scoreboard, or the ratings at least, throughout the entirety of this tournament, only have 2 kills.
Yeah, I think that's especially hurting on Vega Squadron side to not have a JR being able to have much of an impact so far. On CT side he had versus Energy definitely set them off in the right direction. I will say, though, out of what we saw, out of the very limited information we have on Vega Squadron and Overpass, their T side did look better than their CT side.
Yeah, I think they really abused that economy of NRG, right? Especially with the mix-up of plays. They were, you know, winning, I don't want to say the crucial rounds, because obviously every round in the Chase of 16 is crucial. This is a save round that we'll be seeing coming out of them. And it was based off of But they've been holding on to so many guns, they've been scrapping near the buyers here.
Yeah.
When they lose this one, or if they lose this one, it'll be 2,400 as the loss bonus. So looking at their economy, however, my maths isn't great, but they're not going to have enough for a proper buy, are they?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't even have to be great at math to figure out that it's not going to be not going to be a fun buy for them.
2 + 2 is 5, right? That's what they want us to believe.
Well, luckily, we're not cheap.
Someone needs to, if you haven't read that book, go out there, buy it, read it.
Come back to Chad on Twitter with feedback. Now, ENCE are taking the same approach as they have done in many other anti-ecos. Just a mini crew over towards long to clear out space. Move forward. Flash comes over for aerial to peek. Nobody's to be found on the side of Vega. JR is around by restrooms, but he's the only forward player on the side of Vega as well. There we go. Let's spots that out. No damage done, but information gained for both sides. Now we're seeing ENCE set up for a pretty standard A-take here. Molotov's gone down. They're going to be able to clear all the angles. Crush goes down. JR, they know he's about. Chopper's not going to find any success either. And comes in. Moss on JR, so trying his luck through the smoke. It's going to end with this Gucci going down and 2 men surviving so far for Vega, but that's just a question of time before that gets worse. Tony Black left alone. USP gets ran down by Alexi. Well then, double figures for ENCE pretty much as soon as you can get there on the T side here. And I mean, even if it were to be the case that Vega Squadron's T side is better than their CT side, at this stage it might not be enough.
Yeah, they're going to need all of these rounds right now if they want to put up a fight in this final map. Reach deep. This has been a long one. You've got to be tired after playing this many rounds of Counter-Strike.
How do you feel about playing overpass without any Molotovs at all on the CT side?
I really don't love it, but if there's one thing that Vega can do, that's surprise us. Let's see if they can do it again. Actually, a double nade was on the cards potentially towards Monster. And that was because they know that, you know, a change of pace has come in before. Chopper's going to throw his nice and deep, and they are just going for that spread of 2-3 defense.
1-3-1 coming out on ENCE this time, so a bit of a different take on their default. Looking to get underpass control. That does allow them to have quick rotations between either of the bomb sites. Definitely not to be discouraged if you're T side. But right now, I mean, Vega Squadron have kind of been put in a situation where they can't play the kind of game that they thrive off of. At this point, the only way they're going to make things hectic for ENCE is allowing a bomb plant to go down and then start pouncing on them. They just don't have the utility to really flash themselves forward into position or have an op on JR to potentially go on exploration.
They did the triple nades there and actually did take a little bit of damage, I suppose, but not as much as what you would like with 3 tactical nukes being deployed in that fashion. So with connector control, it does become easy for ENCE to throw in a fake in this situation. You can see they're throwing nades at both bomb sites right now to keep up the ruse, the smoke and mirrors, as it were. Does look like it has to be a B hit with 27 seconds left on the clock, but with the limited utility, Vega's done a fantastic job of holding on here and throwing it out late. Crush will open the account. He's going to follow it up with a second, and Chopper in the fray will find one of his own. At this point, I think it's going to come through, and all the damage is being done to ENCE. The 3rd round on the board seems all but inevitable with 11 seconds. Alu's running in. He's going to take a USP to the back of the head, and that combo on that B site, they did it in one of the earlier rounds with the AWP, and then Crush mopped up, and this time, same or similar scenes from Chopper and Crush over towards that B bomb site. They're doing the best they can.
I mean, the impressive part with Vegas, for how low they are on utility in so many situations, they're extremely good at holding on to it. I mean, you can always make a case of ENCE not being able or not being good enough at putting pressure on them, but man alive, it requires some nerves of steel to be able to hold on to your utility for that long, and it definitely makes the push that ENCE has planned a lot harder.
Does seem possible, however, without too many plants coming in, well, at least in that last round, that if Vega are able to steal this one, they could actually salvage 5. There is 8,000 in the bank for Aerial. He will be able to drop 2 AKs, and Sergey will hopefully have enough to drop as well. Unless he, you know, suicides, team kills, does all that kind of stuff in the round. Has to be an absolute catastrophe for him, but
this can definitely happen, and we've seen time run down in a fair few rounds. So if ENCE were to have to hold on to their weapons, time runs out. A couple of kills comes in from Vega at that stage. It's very doable. Again, though, business as usual, as Vega has not really taken an affinity to be aggressive here on the CT side as much as they have.
Alexi might get a chance here as the boost, something which they were expecting last round, but not so much this round. He gets offered up the kill, but unable to land the bullets.
It should have been a sitter. So that Hoochie does take a lot of damage at least, so it's not all for naught.
But this rotation, though, we've got 3 players already on this A bomb site ready to receive.
Hoochie's also rotating over towards A. They have a very good read on what's going on.
Bombs dropped as well. Now they know it's going to be there in Tony Black's position. They're not going to be able to check it. I say that. They step on out. He's still able to get one, and JR missing means this could fall apart very quickly. Sergey and Alu making sure this isn't an easy task, and in the smoke is Hachi. Chopper's allowing him the chance to move around. His position is known, but quick as you like. Alexi standing tall, 7 seconds left. Sergey stepping out. The 11th round on the board. The hard reset going into the final round of the first half means that Vega have to try and do what they do best and pull a miracle round out of their ass.
That is really what they have to do as well. I mean, you look at this buy. It's a FAMAS. That's your biggest strength at this point. Tony Black going to be wielding that. He has smoke, 2 flashes. Really just... You're left questioning how Vega Squadron are going to find success with this kind of a buy, and maybe this is it. 3 men pushing far forward on long, almost immediately. Usually we've seen ENCE be rather modest in their approach, how quickly they want to go about things on the map on this T side, and what they've known they've been up against is some, you know, I guess what you could call an eco on the side of Vega. They have opted to put a bit of pressure over towards long as well. For now, though, it's just the most passive of approaches, as you can imagine.
I think definitely the longer round time and longer bomb times mean that these force buys are a lot less potent, especially on a map like this, but Vega are trying to make it deadly and dangerous as humanly possible no matter the scenario. Flash comes out towards long, and he's getting a bit curious as he's pivoting around the corner now.
Really taking his time, though.
Making sure he's checking every single little angle. Did he catch that off Tony Black just falling away? Oh, missing the shot on the player moving away, and they're going to get a chance to use that smoke as a shroud, get around the corner, and hightail it back towards the A bomb site. Meanwhile, X7 able to get a kill on Chopper. It will still potentially be this A bomb site play, as there is 30 seconds left. And they're still postured and waiting.
Seems like they want to commit towards A right now, though. Aerial with the bomb. Doesn't really react to the fact that Crush is standing behind the smoke. He might be able to find 2, but Alexi says no. Rotates, coming in now for Vega. They need to make a stand. Alexi, though, says that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Oh, the bomb's dropped. There's 10 seconds left. JR's got 2 massive kills. He has to live. There's 7 seconds. They're hunting him down, and he dances around the truck best he possibly can. That's a 12-3 T-half coming out from ENCE. We saw that in Inferno, and they took that game with relative ease. Will it be similar scenes here? We'll find out after the break.
Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up, babe. Tonight we gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up.
very convincing half as ENCE put on a clinic on the T side of overpass. Vega's map pool, we did talk about its weaknesses. They've shown massive steps forward as a team here, but finally, as we do make it to the 5th map, it appears that the weakness has finally been exploited.
It does so, but it wasn't without any shakiness on the side of ENCE as well. We did see moments for Vega to potentially get a couple of extra rounds on the board, but the Finns just being able to stabilize at the very last moment in order to move forward. And we never really got to see JR coming into it. I mean, his op was a big ordeal over in the matchup versus Energy. It's not been the case at all this time around, and I still think Tony Black is having a bit of a rough go of it.
Yeah, he's definitely disappeared, but let's hit everybody with the cliche right now. It all starts with the pistol.
Yeah.
Vega Squadron, JR on the smoke and Molotov. Everyone else on the Glock armor train on the side of ENCE. It's the standard for Alexi B, defuse kit with a smoke grenade. Let's see how this one plays out, because the importance here for Vega Squadron, if they want to get back in this game, they need to kick it off in the right way, and for once, they're taking things relatively slowly. If you look at your mini-map, you can see 2 players posturing from ENCE, looking down that monster tunnel, using the range of those USPs, and now they've had better of it. They've dropped back to a more passive setup, and they are rotating more members over towards that A bomb site.
Yeah. The big question is going to be, where are Vega going to opt to use these 2 nades that they have at their disposal? Right now, it does seem like they would be going for a bit of an A take. Just put down the smoke either towards car or bank, and the Molotov in whatever space is left open on the opposite side of the site, allowing you to get a bomb plant down in without necessarily getting rushed down by any CTs trying to deny it. Then you can play an after plant position that's pretty favorable for Ts, even at a man disadvantage. See, the smoke's going to come out here from JR as he lines up. He's also the man carrying the bomb, so he needs to leg it once he's thrown these out. And Alexi B and Sergey are ready to receive.
Utility's going to be cold, but that's a massive one tap from Alexi to kick things off for ENCE here. Crush will even it up and playing around the smokes. Alexi's going to be found. Tony Black, the impact man, he's finding it now on this T side, and the Glocks continue to rain down terror on this A bomb site, leaving X7 and Alu well and truly locked out. Some miracle shots have to be, oh wow, I was going to say hit here, but X7 finds one. Unfortunately, Alu's not able to get anything done himself. And X7 continues to hit big shots, but at this point it feels like only damage. There's still 2 heads to find in that defuse kit. Alexi's is a little bit far away. You can see Hunchy there. He's still in this one. He's still getting fired up. They don't want to give this up. This is their chance to take the trophy. They can battle back. Definitely got it if they want to win a trophy on home soil. That's something to remember.
Absolutely. Well, on the side of ENCE, we've seen them have issues closing out games already in this series. We'll see as Vega make their attempt to get closer. It might actually pop into their heads once again, but for now, it's going to be upgraded pistols and smokes galore on the side of ENCE. This is something that Vega have done really well for themselves, just continuously smoking out entrances to the bomb site. But already 1 down. 3-man boost in the corner. If graffiti is not going to work out, Chopper's aware of that. So,
not the way you want to start your force by, is it?
no, it's not ideal. But again, I mean, losing 1 out of 4 smokes, you can live with that. Again, it also slows down the tempo of the game, so you still have an opportunity to wait a little bit before that comes into play. Sergey is going to find the drop on Crush. Is traded almost immediately, and JR is going to bounce forward with that. He only has a Mac 10 as well, so there's nothing really limiting his mobility. So the guy is setting up for smokes as well, and this is going to be the commit from Vega onto A, and so not committing to anything at all outside of a save, it seems like.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of this throughout this entire series. The teams, they hedge on the force by rounds. If it pays off,
It's great.
It's fantastic. If not, they tend to save. And I think in some of the occasions, it may have done teams more harm than good because they have been force buying behind limited weaponry. This time round, it's more than likely, and when I say more than likely, I would almost say 99% that they will just carry these through while Sergey and Ariel won't upgrade.
Yeah, I think the only thing you might be looking at is them picking up a smoke grenade if they want to set up something similar again, although obviously it doesn't have to reinvest into a pistol, so you can potentially get a get a smoke on his end as well. Still be okay in terms of getting it off, potentially. But I think they just want to play it safe. What makes the most sense, at least.
All right, well, a step in the right direction from Vega here as they have a long ladder to climb. I think we have to really think about how hard it's going to be. They're going to have to show so much depth on this T side. They're going to have to reset Vega. They're going to have to reset ENCE. They're going to have to keep pressure on that economy at all times. If they even lose 2 consecutive gun rounds, that would be all that ENCE needs to find themselves almost at match point. Series point and take the trophy. So we do see a more likely B play going to come in. Molotov over towards Barrel from Tony. They're going through Monster now, leading the way with the Mac 10. Crush is covering the rotation through the door as all 5 members of ENCE were over towards that A bomb site. Alexi is in connector. And they just want to do as much damage as they can right now. Take away as many guns. Doesn't really matter if you can hold on to too much. If they get an AK, that'd be great. And that's the battle that Tony's been willing to give. He's finding 2 kills and backup has arrived. Chopper's on the scene. Tony's going to get a 3rd for the round, and that just leaves Alexi in the door. Crush is the man on the other side. Who's going to knock first?
Apparently, Crush is pretty content with sitting where he's been pretty much the entire round. So won't make his way through that door. Alexi's going to be able to stay alive. I guess he holds on to light Kevlar. Only issue is he has taken a bit of damage to it, so not going to get the cheap upgrade to helmet. But it's better than nothing. It's some money saved, I guess, if he just decides to not opt in for the head armor. But depending on how Brazen Vega feel on their end, they could stick with those 2 Mac 10s. And we did see that come into play, actually, in the first half.
Yes.
With Vega having such shoddy buys that they couldn't afford head armor. I think it was Alexi B with his Mac 10 just wreaking havoc left and right. And Alexi has opted to not go for head armor. It's actually, yeah, all his glass cannon. Sergey's the only one with head Kevlar, so these Mac 10s could be absolutely incredible for Vega Squadron.
Looks like they want the B play again, as there are already multiple members over towards Monster, and straight through he goes. Hachi's pushed in front of the Molotov. He's going to find a kill. Ariel not expecting him that quickly, and X7 quickly going to stop any push that could be coming in. Now the Molotovs will come on over, and Chopper's already made the way up to Sandbags. They've been able to find 2 cheeky kills in transition. That was very quick that they took that territory.
It's just so unexpected. Huchi just completely alone walks in through a Molotov, in through Monster to find that kill. So even if he dies immediately, I mean, again, you weaken the defense. That makes sure that ENCE has to rotate off their initial positions. Now we can see the mark of that. Alu left alone over towards the A-bomb site. And oh, he's not going to call. He's not going to catch JR.
Oh.
Moving up close, and well, JR gets a free AWP. He's happy as can be, and Sergey and Alexi, they're just going to have to bail out. There's no way for them to actually retake this.
12-3 half, and we're already looking at 12-7 with the likelihood
Of more to come.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? ENCE, they can force buy behind these 2 M4s. But is it going to be enough? That's going to be a gargantuan play that's going to have to come in on the backs of Alexi and Sergey.
Especially considering that Alexi doesn't have head armor at this point as well. There's no reason for Crush to throw out his Mac 10. Could also be a pretty big deal. But it seems like Vega are very interested in actually removing this from their hands, and I don't see how Alexi is going to he's going to make it out. Got Chopper eking his way forward. He's gone for the long road hit, but it works out. Sergey's still alive for the time being, but Vega closing in. Up on short we go. Crush. Not going to be successful, but Tony Black is. So even though there is a fair amount of players from Vega actually ending up dying, that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, they have enough money on the board, or at least to play with.
Yeah.
They've been passing go a couple of times now, as that's 4 in a row on this T side. At this point, we start to worry for ENCE. We know that they have trouble closing. This is a huge half. 12-3, T side, overpass, going up against Vega, a team who's only played this once. That's a missed Molotov. That's the lack of experience on this map coming to show very early. That just makes the point. If Vega do this, if Vega are able to claw this back and take this victory, they've done it 2 days in a row on a map that they do not play in their map pool. That's massive. Absolutely huge upsets from these guys. Hachi up close and personal. He's going to have 3 members. Chopper's actually going to get the dirty work done on all 3 of the kills. Make that 4.
Huchi was so excited to see all those people dying in front of him, just only to realize he didn't get a final touch on anyone. Alu's still around though, so there might be an opportunity for Huchi to get on the board as well. Oh, I say that Tony Black's going to take away that opportunity. Easy as you like for Vega. Pretty clean as well, so for how much they expended trying to get those 2 weapons out of the hands of ENCE 2 rounds ago, I mean, makes it all worth it.
Here's the positive sign, I suppose, for ENCE. They're at max loss bonus right now.
That's true. Again, not going to be as beneficial as it would be for T side, but you'll take what you can at this stage. And I'm kind of curious to see when we're going to see tactical timeouts coming in from ENCE's side. I mean, if you can't let Vega build up too much confidence, you can't let them get too much momentum to work with here. Right now, you can, go with the excuse that, well, they want pistol rounds, so that's a couple of gimmies right there.
Pace change right now as Vega want to take territory very quickly. That's going to allow the opening damage and kills to fall in the favor of ENCE here. Chopper took a shot through the wall from Alu. That's put him down to 21. And then we just saw that kill from Sergey onto Hachi. That's a miss nade right there. They will blast open the door. I don't know if that's what he wanted to achieve.
Still going to give him an angle at least to approach short from.
Let's see if they want to creep through Monster like we have seen previously in this half already from Vega. We do have the bomb over on that side of the map. The only member right now towards A is
Chopper.
Yeah, the aforementioned Chopper on 21 points of health. If he makes a play, if he gets 1 kill, that could be enough to draw a rotation off of this B bomb site. But both X7 and Aerial need to trust each other as Tony now is walking in. He's pushing on in. Flash will come over. Has to hit this shot. And the utility is coming over. Jiggle Pete the corner. He spotted them. An X7. He steps up and Aerial follows. This attack on the B bomb site has been thwarted. Low HP of both Crush and Chopper is going to be a difficult task as the mop-up crew of Sergey has arrived.
Chopper has already fired off shots over towards that A-bomb site, so Alexi's fully aware of what's about to happen. Chopper just missing out on that opportunity to potentially at least create some chaos. He actually managed to get by Alexi for the time being, but not for long. Alu is there to make sure nothing bad happens, and well, in a way, that's one way to get back on the board with, for sure. I mean, not losing a single player on your side, just really solidifying a dominant round. That's what you want to see out of ENCE. It gives them a little bit of a cushion as well. Enough money here to the point where they could potentially force up if they were to lose and get reset.
Yeah, lessens the damage of that hard reset that we were just addressing before. So the name of the game there for Chopper was damage, but only was inflicting on himself as he dropped down the stairs. They want to keep this quicker pace as Hachi now pushing through quickly into sewer. They have to extinguish that Molotov and Aerial. He wants to fight. He wants to take up the duels. We've seen his aim be on point in the early stages of this series. He doesn't have any dramas going toe-to-toe in terms of aim battles with these players from Vega. Lots of nades being exchanged back and forth. Looks like a bit of a tennis match at this point.
Well, for now, it's halftime, it would seem. Let's get a bit of a break. End result is still Vega Squadron being able to get control over the short area at least. Plenty of executes you can set up from that area specifically. Something that we did see them do versus Energy that they haven't gone back to here so far is push through Monster with supplemented flashes from short.
Oh, interesting smoke coming out from Alexi there. He continues to play for information by jumping over the top of that little wooden wall. 40 seconds left right now. The bomb isn't pivoting back over towards the B site. And they didn't really take too much control of bathrooms all long. However, with the passive positions of ENCE, they've been able to get all the information they need. And they've hedged the stack over towards the B bomb site. 3 players still there as they move their way up sandbag now. 20 seconds left. Pressure is on into the blender. They come once more. Alexi and Aerial able to grab some kills, but the trades fall in the favor of the Vega Squadron players. Low on HP as Hachi and JR and Alu and Sergey have to retake this bomb site. If the percentage plays are anything to go off from the previous games, this will be a save round right now from ENCE.
Yeah, all things considered, I mean, as well, good of a job they did keeping everyone alive. You can't really afford to lose an op here and expect to rebuy that.
Just waiting to see if they can catch anybody getting lazy in this post plant. Isn't going to be the case, and they will.
Oh, Sergey. That's adventurous.
I think he was just opting to keep players close to the bomb, but it isn't going to be. And they are going to back on off. And this was the reset we talked about. But you look at this. Sergey's going to be able to drop a gun. Alu is also going to be able to drop a gun.
And there's at least one player on the side of ENCE, and Alexi should be able to buy up for themselves. Probably not going with Colt in that scenario, but SMG, some utility, and that's definitely going to do the job as well.
Alu going missing in this grand final right
is a bit
now
of an issue.
on the 5th map on an AWP-heavy scenario is not ideal. This is where you thought his experience would definitely be able to shine through.
I guess this is the teams both experienced the same kind of issue, though, because we didn't see much out of JR as well on the CT side of Vega. They had to fight through that, even with as limited results as that gave them. And right now, ENCE are facing the same kind of scenario. Still plenty of rounds here. I mean, as much as Vega are climbing back, it's still a 4-round cushion, so plenty of buy rounds to go with on the side of ENCE before that becomes a reality of equal numbers. But right now, the tendencies for Vega Squadron is very, very impressive. Getting a lot done here on this T side in a pretty convincing fashion. So the buy comes in. Alexi does opt in for a FAMAS. Not going to go with an SMG. And then the buy sets in. A bit more aggression here coming out from Alu. Just going to see if he can find an early pick towards Fountain. Unbeknownst to him, though, there's only one player there. That's JR, but he's hanging out by Playground.
Bomb has been left in a very safe position.
Don't want to, you know...
They're not going to lose it.
Yeah.
They're definitely not going to lose it.
It's like JR's already walking back to retrieve that. That's a sign of Vega wanting to go towards the B bomb site pretty soon. Well, left to be seen, but they are making their way up short here pretty quickly.
They have left it pretty late round in a lot of these situations, so a change of timing could be enough to catch ENCE off guard here. Maybe thinking now we'll hold on to our utility a little bit longer, but if they do so, the attack will be in their face before they know it. Trying to reposition right now. They know the jig is up, and in transition, Chopper will catch X7. That's not the first time that's happened. Aerial pushes on in, gets the quick trade, and now the utility will be expended. The attack is on. The chaos ensues once more, and Aerial finds a second in the round. Lots of pressure now on the rotation as Lexi B falls to Tony Black, the impact man, finally coming alive in this last map. 2-on-2 situation. Nade does a bit of damage, but Sergey wants to play on the cusp and the fringe of the smoke. If Tony thinks this is completely obscured, he may wander into a trap. But we do find ourselves in the stalemate we did before with Alu and Sergey left to retake the B bomb site. Eventually they have to go for one of these rounds, and that kill is the trigger. Pushing on out, Sergey jiggle picks the corner. He'll find the kill. That will be 14 on the board for ENCE. One step closer to that trophy, one step closer to the victory. As what seemed like a good round, a good change of timing from Vega.
Just Aerial being able to find that second frag before he goes down. Once he's put down the smoke, Alexi being able to get one trade for himself as well. Everything just being kept in balance for ENCE for such a long time. Makes it a possibility, and the second they start moving about, Alu's from up above in heavens, able to find one frag that allows for Sergey to push forward. But still not out of it by any means, Vega. All the money in the world to buy out with. But ENCE, they're getting dangerously close to map and serious points here. Again, focus from Vega is going to be over towards B. Looking to grab short control. And really awkward off angle here to deal with for Pucci. Not going to be able to find a response, just does a lot of damage. And Chopper, he wants to see if he can punish anyone rotating off that boost. Instead, it's going to get taken down by X7. Really has had quite the turnaround here, considering where he was finding himself on Mirage. Definitely more active here on both sides of overpass.
Yeah, and this is the first time that, other than those anti-eco rounds, that we're really seeing Vega apply much pressure towards the A bomb site. For once, they're happy to trickle on over here. Keep in mind that may be one of the reasons that Alu hasn't had too many kills, because he's been rotating into a locked out bomb site time and time again. He will spot JR over towards long, and this is where Vega do their best work. The individual plays seem to be the can opener for this team, cracking open bomb sites. His presence seems like it's more than enough. Now they want to go back to B. There was 3 members over towards that A bomb site, but Sergey and Alexi have made the call to rotate away. They're caught in the confusion right now, but X7 again, he's had a lot of impact towards this B bomb site, stopping this push in its tracks. It's like the train that shouldn't be on this map. Tony and JR are left with it all to do. Do they save or do they go for this with 15 seconds left? And 15 rounds on the precipice for ENCE. They're going to get caught out. They're going to drop. They're going to try their luck, and it's not enough. ENCE now 1 round away from doing this.
1 round to go, and yeah, still money in the bank for Vega Squadron. Ops going to come out on JR. This is their final stand. Chopper's not going to have the best of buys. Just at 3.3K, he's going to need to dig deep. But again, it's this kind of scrappy buy that Vega have been able to find their success with now, though. We haven't seen them venture too much out towards that A bomb side. It's been a lot focused on B. And the further we go, the better we control. It seems like ENCE are starting to get on it. Just a better grasp of how to play it. Buying time for rotations to come in and whatnot. And Vega need to think of something new here if they want to keep this match going.
Well, hopefully they can pull a miracle out of the bag right now, because this tactical pause is their last hurrah. It is the last stand for Vega. Chopper has picked up that MP5, which he's done a lot of damage with. But this time round, all the members on ENCE covered their heads with the helmets. Here we go. Last round potentially about to unfold here. Alu, aggressive as hell over towards fountain area. He's flashed off. Will be kept at bay. 4 members cheating over towards that B-bomb site early for ENCE. They're really fortifying their defense towards that bomb site, and that's fair enough. That's where majority of the attacks have been coming in from Vega.
Can't fault ENCE at all for what they're doing right now. Out of Molotovs, so it's going to have to be heavy focus on getting on the right smokes at the right time, and also expecting Vega players to come running through them at certain points. Flash comes out. No real reaction on the side of ENCE either. I think that might be a bit of an issue for Vega, the fact that they'd love to look for early openings, but such a passive hold.
Ooh, Tony Black is sneaking on in. This is a massive play. He has to be the impact man here. Is he going to expect this angle? No, he's not. Aerial, the first kill, the first nail in the coffin. Steps are being taken, and the bomb is still back towards spawn. 40 seconds left on the clock. No map territory to speak of. Vega need a miracle right now.
Chopper might be that miracle man. Tries his luck through the smoke. Not going to be able to connect. Just take some damage. Instead, it's going to be JR that's the focus point. He finds Alu. That's an opening on that A-bomb site. Follow that up. Alexi B still tucked away by Optimus.
Has to be A now. 15 seconds left on the clock. The in-game leader is getting back up as he gets the opening kill. Everybody's here towards this A bomb site. Alexi with 2 massive kills to follow. All the pressure on Chopper. He's going to go down, and ENCE have done it. Finally they close. Finally they take the map. It's too easy for ENCE as they grab the title. They battled through. They've done it the hard way. Vega have pushed them every single step of this one. Fantastic showing in this tournament from both teams. A new light to be shone on Vega Squadron. The hugs come in. It has been a long one. Go over and shake hands.
Wouldn't really have seen ENCE being the ones to be crowned champions of Starladder, I think Season 6, but there we have it. Best performing team all the way through, and these young guns from Finland, they might be ushering in a new era, obviously led by Alu as well, the one old boy in there.
Here we go. They've done it, and they've done it the hardest way possible, but the kids from Finland, they're going to lift the trophy. They are the champions.
Champion of StarSeries Season 6, ENCE Esports.
Well, it's been a long series, however. It's back and forth affair, both teams stealing each other's maps. That's going to be it from us. So we see Trace on the stage here, ready to do the winner's interview with none other than the in-game leader, Alexi B.
Thank you very much, Chad. Thank you very much indeed. I'm here with Alexi B. You have done it, my friend. You have came all the way to Kyiv, and you're now the champions of StarSeries Season 6. Tell me about how you're feeling in this moment.
Incredible. Nothing else.
Nothing else. You powered through the likes of Tyloo. You put Miles in the dirt. You put Optic in the dirt. And now you are walking home, putting Vega down. Talk to me about beating Vega today.
Really hard match. They played great. I think just in the end, we had the best map pool, I think, and we just pulled it off.
Going all the way to 5, how did you guys find the gas, the petrol, to keep the fire alive inside of you?
We were just saying, like, just relax. The maps are 2-2. We have a good overpass. Just let's get it.
Let's get it. You heard it here first. Let's get a round of applause for ENCE, everybody. Congratulations, my friend. Let's go ahead and kick it over the desk for some true analysis. Take it away, guys.
ENCE get it done, and they're still maybe a little bit stunned for words as we go into that, but they did close it out. You flip-flopped and you failed again, Sean.
Did.
You got to stop doing this, man.
Right, got to pop my collar. I did say the whole way I had ENCE, or ENCE, as some would say.
ENCE.
Yes, exactly. No, the problem with this final is you saw the inexperience from ENCE at times. Like, there were a number of games here that they lost that they certainly could have won. This could have been 3-0, could have been 3-1. There's many different ways it could have gone. Overall, though, they were, like he said there, they were the better team. They had the better map pool. If you look even at the performance, much better performance individually across the entire series from the ENCE players. The stats all tell as much. The stats actually wouldn't suggest it was a 5-game series. The guys from Vega Squadron, they didn't really leap off the page. They didn't do too crazy. They had a lot of balls, though, the way they played. Actually, they stayed in the match. They had decisive comeback rounds. So many times. They were hard to put away, even on this last map here. So I give a lot of credit to them. Salute for a really great tournament, but ENCE was the better team.
Yeah, I agree. Hats off to ENCE for shutting down all the aggressions Vega tried to throw at them in that first half of this game. I mean, JR was almost non-existent in that first half, where if you look at the map against NRG, he was dominating the map, getting opening picks. Not many opening picks outside of a few from Chopper, which were traded out very quickly. ENCE had everything under control, and their hits on the A bomb site, JR looked lost a lot of times. He was in the open. Honestly, there was hardly any chance for Vega in that first half.
Yeah.
Now, we speak about, obviously, JR's performance, but Alu as well. The AWPs didn't really get going right when it comes into this, but it wasn't needed for the ENCE side. Do you feel like if, say, JR had managed to step up, we would have had a little bit of a most close game to kind of fight that off there? Because it seemed a bit too lackluster.
Like, right up until the final was where all his numbers were.
Yeah.
The final was so bad, because obviously it was 5 maps, so that ends up being like almost like 30-40% of your entire tournament. It tanked his stats completely. So even when you saw, funnily enough, him and Alu generally weren't the guys who were putting monster numbers up. They just got AWP kills. That was their job. If you ever saw on the stats things, they'd have like, 18 kills, but then like 11 of those are AWP kills. So yeah, it didn't end up mattering because it was neutralized, as you say. And as soon as you neutralize that factor, since it was the best player of Vega, first of all, you put their chances way lower down. And then the difference is they don't need Alu to go crazy on ENCE. They've got Aerial. They've got, obviously, Sergey. Actually, the guy who did a really, really poor game for X7 massively picked it up. He was top fragging at one point here. So, like, the depth on the side of ENCE just absolutely dwarfed what was going on over on Vega Squadron.
Now we're talking about ENCE. They've just had a big win here at a 300k tournament, and you're looking at ENCE now. And do we see them as contenders for future events going forward here?
I definitely think they could be, given their map pool. I mean, Alu has the veteran experience, and Sergey really impressed me this event. I think he actually ended the finals with the most kills. 16-year-old not crumbling under the pressure of, going into a 5-map best of 5. He came up big time and time again for them throughout this series. I think he had the highest ADR as well. So that's really positive signs moving forward right now for a team like ENCE.
Yeah, the key for me is that since Sergey is only 16, normally you'd expect to become a well-rounded pro if you start young. But 17 or 18, you're starting to get there. So the difference is you don't necessarily have to actually change anything. That alone could be a factor where 3 months from now, 6 months from now, he'd get more consistent, he's getting a bit better, he hits his stride really. We've seen that with the Nikos, Simples of the world, more recently Twists, obviously, over on Team Liquid. So that's the most positive sign for me. I still feel as though if you look at the squad, you could certainly change a player or two in and out. You look over at the Mouse Sports team, which is in disarray right now. If this team keeps getting better in ENCE, there's an obvious move that happens where you bring in Sonny if you can. But that's the key for me in ENCE, is you have to get to the level where it's worth Sonny coming and joining you. At the moment, it's not. You'd stay in Mouse Sports. You'd take an offer from FaZe Clan. So there's a future for the team, certainly. This one, a lot of crazy things happened with the bracket. There were a lot of upsets. People like Mouse didn't even get into the playoffs. So some things had to go right for you. All the same, they definitely beat some of the hardest opponents in the tournament. It's not their fault NRG didn't make it through, North didn't make it through, Vega Squadron took care of them. So all in all, very positive signs. They did it the hard way, but I think if you put them against those top teams, there's still going to be a class difference.
Yeah, without a doubt, they do have things to work on. Their anti-ecos were abysmal in this best of 5 series. They lost so many weird force buys to Vega, and they almost lost some pivotal ones in this last map, actually, and they fought tooth and nail back to make sure they didn't. So that's definitely something they need to work on moving forward.
And this is just a super legit run here from ENCE as well, right? We see obviously Tyloo Imperial, you got the big Mouse one, Optic in there as well, now finally Vega in the finals. ENCE at least didn't have the, you could go where many people come back and like, oh, okay, well they had an easy run, that's how they got there. This wasn't the easiest of runs, especially for a lineup like this.
Well, I mean, obviously you've beaten a champion recently in Mouse Sports there. Big is the team that going into the playoffs. Once they made it to the playoffs, I think a number of teams would have been scared of them. They have a very good map pool. Obviously, they have a bunch of young players and older players, like nice mix there, veteran quality. So if you actually just take away the names and you look at the players they beat, think about the Mouse Sports players, the Optic players, there's a lot of talent here. So that's the big positive for me, is that there wasn't intimidation factor playing against players that have accomplished much more in their careers.
And many different styles as well. They went against super strategic teams like Big, to teams like Vega, to teams in the middle, kind of like Optic. I mean, ENCE showed that they could deal with a lot of different looks throughout this event. Very impressive.
And then also dealing with Vega in the finals, that unpredictable side of things as well, something for them to be proud of regardless. And also just the fact that they had the crowd very much on the side of Vega, right? You were completely outnumbered in that sense, and it definitely didn't rattle their cages.
No, not at all, actually. That was the one thing that really was surprising in that last game, that I thought going into that final map, they might crumble under that pressure. James, you still may have a lot to say, but no. The camera was on you that whole time.
Hi. We're still here.
Yeah, it was actually very impressive they didn't crumble under the pressure.
Now looking at Vega, right, do we see this as something like a miracle run, or is it something that we can go, oh, okay, actually, we maybe need to look out for Vega if they keep increasing their map pool because they've got some talented players there?
The big concern is, like, statistically, there's not a basis to say that they are going to be a really solid team. Like, as I said, they were able to grind out a lot of wins. Like, a lot of the wins were dirty. It was like the rounds had to be super close. They had to be able to get miracle eco round wins, as you're saying. There's so many force buy scenarios where if they lose the round, the score already is really heavy for the other guy, and that's where the whole game just blows out. And you do get blown out in a game. That it didn't happen here, okay, that's great. It looks awesome. It's really entertaining, but that's not going to hold up. You're not going to win those force buys 45, 50% of the time like they seem to at this tournament. And then you've got to add, there wasn't really like a bright spot in terms of like individual player. There wasn't a player, like for example, even if they'd have won this final here, I was having a look, and statistically you couldn't have given the MVP to anyone on Vega Squadron. It was going to be someone on ENCE anyway. So I think all in all, like, it's great to have a one-off run like this, and you got a lot of wins under your belt. That experience could be carried forwards, but I don't think you'll see them back in a big final like this again. I think this probably was a one-off for them.
Sean, Duncan was just talking about MVPs for it. Is there a player on either lineups that you would give the MVP award to?
So going in to like the last map area of the finals, I kind of thought Alu was there, but Sergey had a better run throughout the entire finals, and he came up big on the last map as well. I think he had the most frags throughout the entire best of 5 coming into the finals. He was right behind Alu as far as rating goes throughout this entire
Alu
event.
did have that one game as well where he just went completely ham,
so
right?
I know just based on how close him and Alu were coming into the finals that he was the highest rated player on ENCE. He's impressed me the most throughout the event, coming up big in clutch situations. That Dust 2, 1 versus 2, very big round. So I would go Sergey, the 16-year-old phenom.
Yeah.
Duncan, you agreeing with that?
Yeah, the problem there is the two clear candidates are Alu and Sergey. Like, the stats both show as much. They both had key moments in the tournament. Like, on the one hand, there's part of me leans towards Alu in as much as I thought that semi-final against Optic was very dangerous. They could have lost this and gone on, and obviously he like single-handedly took care of all those skilled players and completely destroyed them in that, I think it was the Dust 2 game, was right?
Yep.
Was
no,
that the one he got?
Cash.
Cash was the one he got all the kills on. The problem with that, though, is you still have to win the final. You still have to play a best of 5 against Vega, a very difficult team, and generally Sergey was better in the final. So yeah, I'll agree with him. I think Sergey had more sort of consistency and more stability throughout his performance.
Well, there you go. We get some of his stats come up on your screen now, and Sergey certainly did impress across the board. He's managed to do it not just online now and in the LAN capacity. And talking about LAN capacities here for the team, this is ENCE showing that, okay, first of all, they're not scared and they can play when the big pressure's on as well.
Yeah, that's the most shocking thing to me. I think their average age is somewhere in like the 22 range, which obviously that's lowered a lot by someone like Sergey being 16 years old. They're actually a little bit older than you would think. You know?
Yeah.
I think Ariel 25, Alden 26.
That's the key part, Sean, is that whenever a team comes up, it actually happened with Vega Squadron. They are new to us, so people want to say they're a young team. Well, no, they're young in the game, but if the actual age is a bit older, that's why you don't look at them. Like, it's not like all 5 of these players, obviously we know Alu anyway, are going to like develop for the next few years and become much, much better. A couple of them could, and that's the exciting part. But that's where, if you look at just the business of esports, there probably has to be a few roster moves every now and then. Some people are going to stay at this level, some are clearly going to go on.
Very impressed by, actually Alexi B is only 21, so he's their second youngest player behind Sergey. That's kind of impressive and a good thing for ENCE that their in-game leader going into the future is so young.
And they've been doing, he seems to be doing a good job actually.
Exactly.
It's not just people fragging.
Yeah.
All right, well, any closing thoughts, guys, before we wrap this up and end a very long day here, despite it being just one game?
I don't think so. I'm just pleasantly surprised with how well ENCE played throughout this event, how deep their map pool looked, how strategic they looked on a variety of maps. You know, a lot of people have those wins, like Vega had wins throughout a bunch of maps, but did they really look super strategic on all of those maps and look complete, like they could beat, you know, a top 10 team in the world consistently? I don't know, but ENCE, they passed the eye test when I watched them, and I think they were the best team at this event, so hats off to them.
In the end, ENCE deserved champions, although it was very difficult for ENCE.
Wasn't easy, friends. I see what you're doing there. There we go. That is our end of the Star Series 6 here at Starladder. It's been a crazy event. We've seen upsets galore. We've seen other teams that we didn't expect to see get this far, especially even with this ENCE win, but you can take nothing away from them because they performed when it mattered and they beat Vega Squadron 3-2. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we'll see you